The LiveScope G5G7 series are bedside monitors with several configurations for a wide range of patients. The LiveScope G5 is available in a 12-inch and 15-inch version. Both versions carry the input unit on the rear side. LiveScope G7 is available as 15 and 19 inches. The input unit is separated from the screen. LiveScope G5G7 monitors measure parameters like ECG, respiration, NIBP, SpO2, IBP, CO2, and temperature. Pico and EEG are possible by using additional units. For each parameter, we can monitor, store data, and alarm when the patient condition changes. LiveScope G5G7 can be connected to the central nursing station and can monitor patient data from different places. On the front side of the LiveScope G5, you can see the power button, the touchscreen, and the alarm indicator. The input unit will be placed into the monitor from the left side. Different input units are available. In addition, we can use the LiveScope PT transport monitor as an input unit. You can insert an input unit along the guide. To release it again, push down the lever and unplug it. Here you can find connectors for ECG, ECG-BP analog output, SpO2, temperature, and NIBP. These yellow multi-connectors can handle different parameters like IBP, CO2, temperature, BIS, CO, and NMT. On the bottom side, there is a battery pack holder. The connection to additional units or external devices is possible. You can connect them to these multi-link connectors. On the back side, a network connection, a USB port for software upgrade, an HDMI port for an external display, and the serial connector for data output are available. On the left side, there is a recorder, the AC power socket, and another battery. On the front of the LiveScope G7, you can see the power button, the touchscreen, and the alarm indicator. On the left side, you will find a multi-link connector for additional units and external device connectivity, and a battery pack holder. The LiveScope G7 uses the input unit in the separate data acquisition unit. This is connected to the monitor at the left side. Like the LiveScope G5, several input units and the transport monitor are possible. On the front at the data acquisition unit, you will find the buttons to silence the alarm: NIBP interval, NIBP start-stop, all 0 for IBP, and the home button. On the left, you can find multi-link connectors and the data acquisition unit connector to the LiveScope G7 main unit. On the right, you will find a multi-link connector. On the back side, a network connection, a USB port for software upgrade, an HDMI port for an external display, and the serial connector for data output and a recorder connection are available. On the right, there is the AC power socket. Press the power button to turn on the monitor. To switch it off again, press and hold the power button for more than 1 second and touch Power Off. Touch Menu and then Admit Discharge to enter the Admit screen. Enter the patient information by touching items and using the keyboard. After input the data, touch Enter and Add. Touch Admit and New Patient. You can also touch the patient name area at the upper left to go to the Admit screen. Touch Menu Home to go back to the main screen. The bedside monitor has now started monitoring the patient. To discharge a patient, touch Menu and Admit Discharge to go to the Admit screen. Touch Discharge and Discharge again. When we discharge the patient, all the patient data will be erased from the monitor. First, press Menu to open the menu screen to enter the main settings. When you go back to the main screen, touch Menu Home or a waveform area. You can touch a numeric data as well to enter directly the parameter setting. You have the option to configure custom buttons on the bottom to go directly to frequently used screens. To change the setting of the ECG, touch Menu and ECG, or touch the heart rate value. You can see the alarm limit setting at first. You can adjust upper-lower alarm limit by touching each parameter, and you can change the respective alarm limits. In addition, you can change the sensitivity and display lead setting. Touch each selection to change. When starting monitoring, the LiveScope G5G7 will recognize the normal ECG as reference for arrhythmia detection. If the arrhythmia detection is inaccurate due to a change of the ECG's baseline, we can readjust the current ECG waveform by touching Learning. For arrhythmia alarm, touch Arrhythmia Alarms and change arrhythmia alarms by touching Value or On/Off button. You can also change the ST alarm, arrhythmia analysis setting, ST point, pacemaker, and others by touching the tabs. As a shortcut operation, we can change the alarm limit by touching Alarm Limit. Lead change and sensitivity can be changed as well. In the same way, you can change the settings for SpO2. Touch Menu and SpO2, or tap on the SpO2 value to adjust the upper or lower alarm limit by adjusting each parameter and sensitivity. You can also change the Other setting from the Other tag. For NIBP, tap the NIBP value to adjust upper or lower alarm limit. To start the NIBP measurement, tap on Manual Start. Then select the interval time and tap on Interval Start. For continuous NIBP, tap on Stat Start. The default setting will measure NIBP continuously for 5 minutes. To stop NIBP measurements, touch Stop All. You can also start NIBP from customized keys on the main screen. Tap on NIBP Start-Stop for manual measurement. Tap on Interval, select the time, and tap on NIBP Start-Stop for interval NIBP measurement. For IBP, invasive blood pressure, tap on Press Value to change the alarm limit by adjusting each parameter for each IBP label. For a zero calibration, expose the blood pressure line to air and touch Individual Zero for each IBP label. You can also perform a zero calibration for all lines at the same time. Expose all lines to air and touch Zero All. You can change scales, labels, and the Other setting from each tab as well. For the temperature, tap on Temp Value to adjust the alarm limit by touching each parameter, label, and the Other setting. For CO2, tap on the CO2 value for changing the alarm limit. In case of using the P910A CO2 sensor, to start the CO2 monitoring, expose the airway adapter to the air and perform a zero calibration by tapping on Air Cal. For the P907 CO2 sensor, you don't need a zero calibration because of the measuring with the Inspiration Zero Balance Adjustment method. You can also select each parameter setting from the parameter tabs at the top. In case of an alarm, LiveScope G5G7 shows the alarm message with a level color, blue, orange, and red, a sound with different alarm levels and highlighted numeric data. You can silence the alarm by tapping on the Alarm Silence icon. LiveScope G5G7 can store numeric data and up to 5 selected waveforms for 72 hours. You can review the data on the Trend Graph, Vital Sign List, Full Disclosure, Arrhythmia Recall, and Alarm History. You can also record or print data by tapping the Recorder icon or Printer icon from a recorder or a laser printer, depending on the configuration. You are able to review data from each review screen. Tap on Menu and select the review screen you would like to see. Each review screen shows the same time data. To review waveform data at any specific time on the trend graph, change the review screen at the top. At the trend graph, we can change parameters by tapping on Setting icon and Parameter Scale. Touch the parameter and tap on Scale to change the scale of the parameter. You can also change time period and display time. Touch Time Period and select Time. By using the arrow icon or touch the screen, you can jump to the time index where the event occurred. Customized trend patterns can be configured based on the user's requirement. At the vital sign list, you can change parameters from Setting icon. Tap on Setting icon and touch the parameter. You can also change interval time by tapping on Interval Time and selecting the time. The vital sign list pattern can be configured based on the user's requirement. You can show the vital sign list when NIBP is measured by touching NIBP. At the full disclosure window, you can change parameters by tapping Setting icon and selecting the parameter. The scales are changeable at the scale selection. You can select the display waveform type from 12 to 60-second trace. To review a detailed waveform, touch the waveform and an expanded waveform will be shown. Go back to full disclosure by tapping on X. At the arrhythmia recall, you can check an arrhythmia event with the ECG waveform. To review a detailed waveform, tap on an event. Go back to arrhythmia recall by tapping on X. At the alarm history, you can see which alarm occurred in the past time. You can sort by alarm level and alarm type. Just tap on the selection at the bottom. When LiveScope G5G7 is connected to a network, you can access the other patient's data of a bedside monitor. By using the interbed function, you can check the monitoring data and alarms. It is possible to have an overview of up to 20 other patients at your screen. If you want to access detailed data, including waveforms, tap on the patient's field and an individual screen will be shown. When tapping the numeric data, you can see the waveform for the parameter. Go back to the interbed screen by tapping on X. In case you want to transfer a patient to another bed, you can transfer the data from the current bedside monitor to the next one by using Transport function with LiveScope PT. Tap on Menu and Admit Discharge. Tap on Transport Data and Remove until a Remove message appears. Tap on Yes and wait until Remove the Input Unit is displayed. Now you can remove the LiveScope PT Transport monitor from the bedside monitor. Just plug in the LiveScope PT on the other bedside monitor. Confirm that the transfer patient information is correct, then touch OK.